The treasure in the tent is a very nice story from a holy source to illustrate the idea that when Moshe Rabbeinu broke the tablets, Hashem told him, "You broke them, replace them." Moshe said, "How can I replace them? I don't have access to sapphire stones." Hashem said, "Look in your own tent." He revealed to him that there was a quarry of sapphire right there in his own tent. And the moral of the story is that sometimes people travel far and wide and climb high mountains and cross raging rivers to discover wisdom and truth. And when they find out in the end that they didn't have to make that whole journey. We used to tell a joke where the person climbed a mountain in Tibet to meet the Guru. He climbs all the way up there and he gets there and the Guru welcomes him and says, tell me, Mr. Guru, what's it all about? He said, life is a deep well. He says, that's what you want to tell me? Life is a deep well? The Guru says, you mean it's not a deep well? You mean it's not a deep well? The answer is that the truth is very often right where you started in the first place. It's always there. In Moshe's tent, the treasure was there in the tent. Moshe hacked out the stones from the quarry, and Hashem said, you can keep the chips. So he had all these gemstones. I often wonder, what would he do with gemstones in the wilderness, in the desert? Remember Futterfass, when he was in jail, they didn't like the prisoners to behave like they were in summer camp. They weren't in jail in order to have a good time. But the prisoners wanted to have a good time anyway. And they used to play cards. Where did they get the cards? Heaven knows. They had cards they used to play. And the guards would watch them, and then they would burst into the cell and say, give us the cards. They said, we don't have any cards. What cards? We don't have any cards. And they would search the cell, they would tear it apart. And they couldn't find the cards. And the guards would leave because they knew that there were cards there. They couldn't find them. And as soon as they left, the cards came back out and they started playing again. So Reb Mendel said to one of the Ganavim, one of the thieves, how do you do this? He didn't want to say. Reb Mendel coaxed him. Finally he said, you should know, these men here are expert pickpockets. When the guards come in, they place the cards in their pockets. And before they leave, they take them back out. They don't feel a thing. They don't even know. And the moral of the story is that what you're looking for can be right there with you. Last night, case in point, my phone went off. It was time to leave. I wanted to get out. And my phone is beeping. It has a beep. So I look for it on my desk. It's not on my desk. I look for it on the counter, but it's by the side. It's not there. I look for it someplace else. It's not there. I call again. Starts beeping. I can't find it. I'm getting very frustrated. I want to leave. I don't want to leave without my phone. I'm beeping away. I can't figure out where it is. Finally, where do you think it was? I tucked it in my back pocket. So I couldn't find it on any counter. Wasn't with my books. Wasn't with my coat, my jacket, my coat jacket. And it's the same story as the treasure in the tents. Sometimes you find the thing. You know, like they say, some young man in his 20s. Someone said to them, how come you have such a good relationship with your parents? He says, it didn't used to be like that. But when I got to be in the minute, when I turned 25, all of a sudden I realized my parents had grown up. They're really smart after all. Okay. Now, where are the blank pages that I had here? I had some unfolded pages here. Yeah, I think I must have folded them. All right. I'll go to the office. I'll print out some more. Thank you very much, everybody. And the other story is this Shabbos in the West Country. That's West Country of England, where I used to live, where I kept my first Shabbos. And that was this week. So today is an anniversary.
Oh, wow, wonderful.
53 years.
Wow.
A guy suggested to me that I should, he said, anybody who keeps Shabbos knows that it's categorically different from any other day of the week. Something inspired me to give it a try. I said to myself, I think you could use a break. You could use it rest. I was working very hard. I think there's something that inspired me to do that was a rabbi living in Brooklyn who must have looked around the world to see what's going on with Hashem's children. And said, I think it's about time for this boy chick to come home. When that first Shabbos was over, I realized that I was right. He just passed away 2 days ago with the Shloshim. Unlike, he became a lifelong friend. His name is Yitzhak Sufrin. They called him Icky for short. He took care of, the shlichus was taking care of the small communities. I met them in a small community. There was no shul or anything like that, but just a few Jews that he had tracked down. And they happened to be my friends. And they put us together. It was a setup. It was sad. He was told that I would be there. And they were curious to see what would happen. When I took the bait, they weren't so sure that they did the right thing. Because they had to fix that, get their own act together. All right, we're talking about B'nai Aliyah, but they're the Tzadikim Gamorim. Which, page 159 in the middle, where it says 17th of Teva, 17 is a good number. 17 is good. You spell the word 17. There's the word Pape. The word Pape is Tes, which is equal to 9. Good. Vav, 9 6s. 15, good. Vase, 2, 17. So 17 is a good number. The gematria of Pape. Tuesday is a good day because on Tuesday Hashem said twice that it was good. Creation. So it's doubly good. Hashem said twice that Hashem saw his creation and said, Kitay. So the B'nai Aliyah, we are 17 of Tavis. That's That's toiv, toiv. The root of the word tevis is also toiv. A month that's good. Tevis is the month that Queen Esther came to Achashverosh the first time and ended up marrying him. Not that she wanted to marry him, but it was sort of cast upon her from Shemayim. They had an international beauty contest to replace the Queen Vashti, who had been executed for refusing to appear in public, like a Hollywood movie star without clothes on. She was really ready to appear and show her stuff. But she was very nasty to the Jewish girls who had to work in the palace. So Hashem punished her. The children sing a song about it. You know the song? The king Achashverosh made a big feast. He told his Queen Vashti to come. So the children, the words for the children are, she had a lot of pimples, 100 at least. She said, I won't join in your fun. King Achashverosh, I think, and he got very angry, but she didn't listen to him. He said, take her, I don't want her, she's mean. So Esther, all of the Megillah, the Shushan, had Esther became the new queen. Haman said to Mordecai, bow down to me. Said Mordecai, that I will never do. I go only to Hashem, Hashem Elohim, and I'm proud, so proud to be a Jew. Isn't that wonderful song? It's the whole story of the Megillah. Well, for the children, since she had a lot of pimples, the Medrash says that Hashem punished her and she grew a tail. And she was ashamed to be seen in public. And that's the real story. Now you know the rest of the story. Okay, now we're talking about the Bnei Aliyah, the Tzadikim Gamurim. In the area of doing good, not just for staying away from anything negative. Remember, the first step in improving your character is to push away anything negative. Just don't get involved, like Nancy Reagan said. Remember her? Nancy Reagan? I grew up with Ronald Reagan. When I was a little boy, he was a star on television. And he had a couple of programs, Mr. Magic. He used to explain nature, science to children. And then he had another program. He was such a charming person. People were very happy when he became governor, and then became prime minister, president. He was a great president. So his wife Nancy, she said, drugs were starting to get very popular. And she said, just say no. That was her slogan. When people ask you to do things that are not right, just say no. That's the beginning of our avodah in service of God. You can learn from everybody. And that's a very, very important lesson. Just say no. So they're called Bnei Aliyah because everything they do is for the sake of Hashem, for the one above. Gavoya, for the sake of the one who is most high. Maila, and there's no limit to how high. Higher and higher. They do not, the Bnei Aliyah do not do they do not do mitzvahs merely to attach themselves to Hashem. Bilavan. The rabbis tzimayin to quench the burning thirst they have for godliness. Tzimayin nafsham, the thirst of their soul. Hatzameya la Hashem, thirsting for God, right? That's the song. You probably heard it, how the Rebbe sings. Tzama lacha nafshi. My soul thirsts for you, Hashem. In a dry wasteland, like a person in a dry wasteland yearning for water. And to this person who's thirsty for Hashem, the Navi says to him, who is this, Isaiah? No. Yeah, Isaiah. Called Tzama l'chulamayim. If you're thirsty, go to the water and drink. What's the water? Where is that water? In the Torah. The Torah is compared to water. Okay? This is still not the essence of what it means by the B'nai Aliyah, because there's an element of satisfaction involved. If you're thirsty and you drink, you feel, oh Hashem, you feel great. But this is a level that's much higher than anything we encountered yet in descriptions of love of a God, serving Hashem lishma for its own sake, in order to be attached to Him. There's a much deeper level. This is serving God just for the sake of serving God. No recompense, that you don't expect anything in return, nothing. You could still be thirsty. You expect to be enlightened, you won't be loved up, you won't be enlightened. But you just do it because that's what you have to do. And maybe you don't want to do it, maybe you don't like to do it. But you know you're a servant and you subjugate yourself to the master, to your master. Who is our master? Who is Hashem? But it says in the Tikkun, what is Tikkunim? It's here, it says Tikkuni Zoyar. Part of the Zoyar. Ezu chassid. Who is a chassid? Who is a righteous person? A mischased in kainim. A person who does righteous things for the sake of Hashem and for his creator. To be kind of something means to acquire it. You know, when you go to a chasana or l'chaim, the rabbi comes over to the chassan and he says, takes off his yarmulke or something like that. He lifts this up. What is he doing? What's going on? The idea is that when you take something and lift it up like that, it's yours. You have taken possession of it. In Hebrew, the word is liknot, to buy, right? So you're koine the yarmulke or the handkerchief or whatever it is, and it goes to the girl, and she's koine. So you're both koine the same thing. That's, you've made an agreement. That's how you make an agreement with somebody. Like in America, you shake hands. In the Torah, you make a kinyan, it's called. You make a kinyan. So the one is the creator is called Hakoneh. The one who possesses, he's the creator. So these are the words here. Ezu chassid, chesed, chassid. A person who does chesed, a person who does kindness, lekono. Or like they would say with different kinds of accent, lekoina. Imkandale, with his nest. With his nest. His nest, the word ken means, it's a pun. The word ken means a nest, and kono means his creator, so it's a pun. He's doing chesed for his nest. Whose nest? Hashem's nest. Because Hashem, he's like a little chick, and Hashem is the mother. So this person is doing, who is a chassid? A person who does good things for the sake of his mother, for the sake of Hashem, for the sake of the one who made the nest in which he is growing up, in which he is living. Think of the little birds in a nest with their mouths open like this, and the mother comes back and sticks in a worm. Beautiful imagery. Page 161, uniting the Holy One, blessed be He, with the Shekhinah. Okay, now we're first really getting the first time this concept was mentioned. In We have a light. The light bulb is the source of light. We have the light from the light. Okay, it's not the light, but we call it the light. Turn on the light. But we're not turning on the light, we're turning on the lamp. And we're getting the light. There's a difference between the source and the light. So we have the sun, and we have the light from the sun. Similarly, the light from the sun is always connected with the sun. There's a barrier in between. You don't have any light. You have shade. The light is blocked. So the light has to be connected with the source of light, but there's a big difference. That the sunlight warms you, but it's not the same temperature as the source. The source would burn you up. Like the guy from Chelm, the wise men of Chelm, one said, I really would like to go to see what it's like on the sun. He said, you'll burn up. He says, I'll go at night. So what does it mean to unite the Holy One, blessed be He, with His Shekhinah? That's like connecting the source with the radiance, the light that comes from it. This world is, the life in this world is all from Hashem. But we know it's tzimtzum. It's step down, step down, step down. It's diminished until it won't burn up the world. But the life of Hashem is here in this world, and we don't see Hashem. Hashem is hidden. So our job is to connect the way Hashem is in His source with the way He's hidden in this world. That it should be obvious, not hidden, it should be obvious that this world belongs to Hashem. And that everything in the world is Hashem. And there is nothing else but Hashem. But how are we going to bridge this gap? Because Hashem is hidden. So how do we make the hidden thing into something that's revealed? And the answer is Torah and mitzvahs. That's always the answer. Torah and mitzvahs. By learning Torah, we reveal the wisdom of Hashem. By doing mitzvahs, we reveal the will of Hashem. Then the Talmud debates which is higher, the will of Hashem or the wisdom of Hashem, and the answer is the will of Hashem is higher. Because if a person is not gifted intellectually, but he wants to learn Torah, he can do it. By dint of his willpower, he can do it. I went to school with a boy like that. He was a very, not Jewish boy, very simple boy, good-hearted, very, very simple. He took the hardest course in the whole university, required an immense amount of reading, was history, and he plugged away at it. In his first year, he barely passed. But he kept on working at it. In the second year, he did a little better than barely passing. He did okay. C minus, yeah. And the third year, he maybe got up to a C. And maybe after the fourth year, he graduated with a C plus. He got a job as a clerical in the government or something like that. And he would do his job faithfully. But I saw him, because he kept working and working at it, he gave himself he created intellect, created brains for himself. So we see from this that willpower is greater than intellect. Because through willpower, you can acquire intellect. You can develop your intellect. Like a person who was not athletic, he can do a lot of exercise and become more coordinated. Nothing, the aphorism is like this. Nothing stands in the way of a strong will. Willpower. You have two people fighting. Who's going to win? Not the stronger one. The one who wants to win most. Which team is going to win? The Rebbe once asked the boy of his bar mitzvah, do you play baseball? Do you like baseball? He says, yes. Do you play with your friends? Yes. Do you ever go to the games? Oh, I love to go to the games. Why do you like to go to the games more than playing with your friends? He said, Rebbe, you're not saying, how can a little boy like this have to explain baseball to the Rebbe? That's what he was thinking. Why does he want me to explain what baseball is? He said, no, I like to go to the game because, he said, which would you prefer, playing with your friends or going to the game? He said, I prefer going to the game. He said, why? He says, because when I play with my friends, we're just playing, but for them, they're not playing. It's for real. And which team wins, said the Rebbe? In Yechidus, I'm a little boy. Which team wins? He says, the one that plays harder. The one that really wants to. You want to know. So that's the power, the willpower. Now, we have to connect the world where God is hidden, but God is the source of life in this world. So when we do something that reveals the godliness in the world, that's called revealing the Shekinah. The word Shekinah comes from the word Shochen. Shochen means to dwell, to live. Like the Mishkan. It's from the same root. Shochen, the place where Hashem can be, can dwell. In the Mishkan. You can be Shochen. Shochen, where God dwells in this world. So we want where God dwells in a hidden way to be revealed, and that's called uniting the Holy One, blessed be He, with His Shekinah, the divine presence. And Hashem wants that should be in the lowest possible world. Because if Hashem is going to shine Himself the way He is in the lowest world, what's going to happen? It's going to burn up. They say, Hashem, I'll go at night. No, it's not going to work. We have to create a possibility or a scenario in which God can be revealed. It's clear that God is being revealed. Something very godly is happening, is taking place before our eyes, and the world is not burning up. That's what Hashem wants. He wants the world to be a home for Him. That's why people all want to have a home. Nobody wants to just rent the whole of the rest of their lives. Nobody wants to rent a room the rest of their life. Everybody wants to have a home. You know why? Because Hashem wants a home. That desire is planted deep in our heart to have a home. Because Hashem wants to have a home. Okay. And now comes a very key analogy. In the Zohar, Raya Mehemna, does anybody remember what Raya Mehemna means? It's Aramaic. I'll give you a hint. Raya means a shepherd. What does Raya Mehemna mean? The faithful shepherd, of course. Who is the faithful shepherd? That's the book of the Zohar. It's called Raya Mehemna. Who is the faithful shepherd? Huh? Can't hear you. Sounds good. What? Moshe. Moshe is the first of the great faithful shepherds. Avram was a faithful shepherd. Yitzchak was a faithful shepherd. Yaakov was a great shepherd. But Moshe surpassed them all. What did Moshe do that distinguished him as a faithful shepherd? That one little sheep, one little lamb ran away, and he chased it to the end of the wilderness. Where did he find it? On Mount Sinai. Wow. And he gave it to drink. It's a little lamb. Why didn't you tell me you're thirsty? I would have given you a drink. You didn't have to run away. Reb said a whole sikha as he was crying about rebellious youth. They're not rebellious. They want Torah. They're not running away from you. They're running away because they're thirsty. And when Moshe said these words to the little lamb, he looked up and there was a bush burning, and it wasn't consumed. That was how Hashem revealed Himself to Moshe the first time. Hashem said, if this is how you care about little lambs, you can care about my children. So it says here from Raya Mehemna, the faithful shepherd, Kabara Dishtadel, like a son, Dishtadel, who exerts himself. Foster Avi, the Imai, who exerts himself for the sake of his father, Migarme, and more than his own being, the nafshe, more than his soul, more than his ruach, more than his neshama. He'll do everything, anything that is in his power, and even more than that, to save them from whatever predicament they are in, if they've been captured or in captivity, or whatever it is. Maser Garme, the Garme means his body. He will sacrifice his physical life, Lamisa, to give his life up to and die, Alaihu, for their sake, Lamifrak Lane, to free them from captivity. As is explained elsewhere. This is the ultimate level of love of Hashem. Total self-sacrifice. Sacrificing. Nothing held back. Absolutely nothing held back. Everything is for only for the sake of Hashem. The ultimate love. Now, and then, well, we didn't finish the chapter today, as I said that we would. We didn't. We have to learn one more thing, which is now the same thing, really, explaining the same principle, only it's in Kabbalah language. It talks about feminine waters and masculine waters. It's like an analogy of a relationship between a man and a wife, or like in the Song of Songs, between the king and the beloved, the princess, the king and the beloved. The feminine waters stand for our exertion, what we do, right, to initiate the relationship. Like, think of it, just think of it. You have a young man and you have a young woman, and they're intended for one another to be married. How does it happen? Well, somehow the young man knows that he needs to get married, and the young woman wants to be married and have a family. But how does it happen? Well, a shidduch helps, shadchan helps. But in the old, the old-fashioned way of doing things, the woman, the girl, sends out a signal. The way she moves, or the way she looks, even though she's very shy, she doesn't display herself or show the world that she's available, like a girl, like a woman standing on street corners fully. But she sends out a signal, and people just know instinctively how to do this. And the young man picks up on this signal, and then he returns it. Okay? And he says, could you please introduce me to this girl? Okay. So she did something, and he replied. And then that led to more of this kind of exchange. It started with her sending out this signal. And it plays itself out on higher and higher and higher levels until they end up under the chuppah. And this is what's going on between Hashem and the Jewish people. When we send out a signal, that means that we feel, we as the bride, we feel that we want to be connected with the groom. So what do? I'll go to a shir. I'll do a good deed. I'll display something good in my character. Okay, that's called elevating the feminine waters, because this whole world is what Hashem created, but he's hidden in this world. If I have to take this world and do something good with it, that's called elevating the feminine waters. Why are they feminine? Because they didn't do anything to become the waters. Hashem made them. They're totally receptive. That's the feminine aspect. So we come along and we elevate the feminine waters by doing something good with them, helping somebody, doing a mitzvah, learning Torah, smiling, making people feel good, making them feel better, making the world a better place. And Hashem responds, but his response is much greater than the effort that we put in. So we get a response. That response is called masculine waters. So we elevate the feminine waters, we do something good in the world, and this causes a reaction of Hashem sending down, responding with masculine waters. Wow, I'm so glad that I got to meet you. Would you like to take a walk? Hashem responds to us. And that's called a downflow of masculine waters. But the flow of masculine waters is much greater in proportion to what we did. The response is infinitely greater. It's like if you imagine a pitcher, on a hook. And the pitcher is almost ready to spill. And it's on a hook so it can swing. And you come along with this gigantic pitcher, and you give a little push at the bottom. And what comes down? Whoa! A water Niagara Falls comes pouring out. That's like your little push is elevating the feminine waters, and then comes down the masculine waters, a flood of blessing. And that's really the formula of what our life is all about, only it's in Kabbalah terms. So by elevating the feminine waters, it causes a reaction of masculine waters to come into the world, which is Hashem's blessings, which are all full of kindness, and it fits because what did you do? You did a mitzvah, and all the mitzvahs of the Torah are blessings. The essence of the mitzvah is kindness. So you do something kindness on your level, that's elevating the feminine waters, and Hashem responds with His kindness, but His kindness is much greater than your kindness. His kindness is Ein Sof, is without limit. And that's how chapter 10 ends. L'chaim. Isn't that beautiful? Such a wonderful heritage we have. Such a source of wisdom and inspiration. Thank you all for joining. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Don't just give away these papers. You bring one or two of them to the dorm and read them, enjoy them. That's why I like them. They're basically teachings from the Rebbe. Just trying to make them reader friendly. And thank you very, very much for being in this class. I love you all. I'm going to say a bracha for Reina. We didn't say Kapitel Tilim today. That's not good. Okay. Chapter 20, we have to say a Kapitel Tilim. Where the world is shaking. It should shake in a good way. It should shake for good. Not for bad, heaven forbid. Okay, chapter 20. We'll do this. I'm not saying I'm not from Jerusalem. You should send us help and support. Remember our offerings, what lots of the Dashna Sela. When I was learning how to daven, I had to teach myself how to daven. I knew Hebrew because I went to Hebrew school for like 7 years, but I never learned anything. I had a lot of things to take care of, and it used to bother me that it was taking me so much time because I had no time to do the things I had to take care of, my own work. And then I used to say to myself, but maybe if you say this extra paragraph might just tip the scales and save the life of some person who's in danger, in some dangerous place. And it would motivate me. So when we say this Kapitel Tilim, you might wonder, what do we say this Tehillim for? And the answer is that Tilim really works. Tzemach Tzedek was a great Rebbe. A great Rebbe. And the things that he said were great and important. And he said if people knew the power of saying Tehillim, even if you don't understand the words that you're saying, the Tehillim is very hard to understand. Very, very often the poetry is hard to follow. If we knew what we were accomplishing, we would say Tehillim the whole day. The angels who hear us, they're angels all around. Every word that we say it's all recorded. forever. We would, they flip out when we simple people like ourselves say clearly, we don't even know what we're saying, and they do know what we're saying. Hashem should watch over all our people everywhere and protect them. Shabbos, we should go from strength to strength from Purim. All the accomplishments of Purim should go to the next highest level, which is Shabbos. Shabbos elevates everything. Remember to say it on Ukraine. And always best to say a bracha acharena when you're sitting. Some people eat on the go and bless on the go. And I confess to that weakness. But I heard never say those words. The bracha acharena should always be made when you're sitting. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful post-Purim experience, and take Purim into the day, into the year, and the happiness of Purim should lead to the happiness of Pesach. The salvation of Purim should lead to the redemption of Pesach, which is the honor of all, and wonder of all redemptions. Good Shabbos, everybody. Good Shabbos. So nice having you. Miss Megan.
I'm so happy my math is still here. It's still my minute.